Hello and welcome back to the Social Jar podcast, your favourite social media podcast. As always, I'm your host Dan Wiseman and I'm joined by Andreas Giorgio and Ryan Long to pluck three topics out of the Social Jar, the world of social media that have taken our interest in the last couple of weeks. Guys, this is episode 7 now of the Social Jar. It seems quite fitting because last week, on the debut of the Social Jar Extra, we spoke about CR7. See, I've been playing that all day. All day.
You're good at puns, aren't you?
But this is the first time we've had the chance to talk about CR7 with our in-house Manchester United fan, Mr. Ryan Long.
Oh yeah.
We're excited. It's his debut this weekend. Looking like he'll make his first start. How you feeling? That's
well,
it.
excited.
All that needs to be said. Yeah, very excited.
Can't wait, honestly.
And
it's a dream.
Yeah, incredible, I imagine, mate.
A return.
Indeed. Well, hashtag Ronaldo returns. That's what
Hashtag
it
Ronaldo
blew up,
returns.
didn't it, mate? It went absolutely. I mean, as we could have predicted, I suppose. But we spoke about that enough on the Social Jar Extra. If you haven't seen it, guys, go and check that out. We're here to talk today about 3 brand new topics, guys. The first of which is one that I had to say when we came across it, I really didn't think anything of it. I saw the headline. It was like, Instagram will now ask you to input your birthday into the data provided with your account in order if you're going to access your profile. I thought, okay, so what? But when you do some digging into it, there's actually some really meaningful and quite poignant methods to the madness, I suppose. So if you've been on your Instagram recently, you might have noticed that you've been prompted to input your birthday. If you've already put it in like I didn't get the prompt, so I'm assuming my birthday was already provided. It just asks you to input your birthday. You'll get the prompt 3 times before it becomes mandatory, and you won't be able to access your account until you give them your birthday. Now, this is because Instagram are trying to make the app generally safer for younger users, and they've made a lot of different attempts to do so this year, but this is the latest. So earlier this year, back in July, they made it mandatory for under 16 accounts in America or under 18 if you're in the EU to have a private account. We also saw reports earlier this year of Instagram for kids, though that wasn't too popular of an idea. There were like all sorts of movements against that to try and get that idea shut down. So I don't think we will ever see that. But yeah, it seems like quite an insignificant move at first, but the more that you read about it, you realise that actually there's a lot of reasons behind it, and it's quite important, I suppose.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the reason they are doing it first and foremost is for security. So generally, whenever there's something that relates to a personal data, they're not doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it because obviously there's a potential for either a data breach, or in the case of not having a birthday, they can't verify either who you are or that you're old enough to be on the platform, as is the case here, making sure that you're over 16 or over 18. So, I mean, I do remember back in the day, but I do remember trying to sign up to Facebook and putting in my real date of birth, which is at the point I wasn't old enough to use it. I think I was 14 or something like that. And it was like, yeah, you can't make an account. And then I tried to do it again, but it's like your email was already blocked. So I had to make a new email address and everything. So those kind of things, I'd say about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, were really important, and then somehow they disappeared. They went away a little bit. Less emphasis on putting dates of birth in and stuff like that. But yeah, Instagram, I think it's a bold move, but a really important move because it's about safeguarding and making sure that people who are using the app are legitimately using it and are protected.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as I said, Instagram for kids, there was a lot of reports that was in the works. Didn't end up transpiring. A lot of movements sort of against it. And I suppose whilst we sit here on this podcast and champion social media, we can't pretend that it's not a dangerous, and especially for kids. There's a lot of content on social media that you wouldn't want to be seen by younger eyes. So I suppose the idea of posturing a social network specifically to children is a controversial decision. I can see why some people were against it. I mean, what do you reckon, Rye? I mean, as the only father sat here on the Social Jar podcast, you're probably more inclined to talk about this than both me and Andreas. How do you feel about sort of social media? I mean, it's that age, isn't it, of sort of 13 plus, that once you become a teen, you're generally allowed on social media.
Yeah, but there's kids, isn't there, that, what do they call them, tweens?
Yep.
Kids that aren't quite teenagers yet, that they aspire to be like adults.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially on socials, yeah.
Yeah, and they can find that world in through social, can't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And it's just, you've really got to like monitor it. Really, more should be done to protect our kids from, well, what's out there.
100%.
And I think this is a really good way around it. Only thing is though, what's stopping these kids from lying about their age, you know?
Well, right. I'm very glad that you actually asked that question because Instagram, we spoke about this off air. Sorry for the sniggering across the table. Ryan actually asked that question before we started talking. I said, Ryan, make sure you ask it on the pod. And here is why, because Instagram have actually been developing a very clever algorithm that's in development that will look at the comments on users' profiles. So if you've got a user that says that they're 25 years old, they put up a post and get a load of comments saying happy 21st birthday or happy quinceañera or something like that. Instagram will detect that and go, hang on a second, this guy that's having a 15th birthday is supposed to be 25 years old. So they will use the comments and key phrases, putting comments on posts and stuff like that to try and assess what a person's true age actually is.
That's very smart.
Pretty clever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, glaringly obvious, but very clever nonetheless. I mean,
the original vision of the future, look at Skynet, and now forget Skynet.
Yeah.
We've got, an algorithm that can detect your age based on comments. What more could you ask for? What more could you ask for?
But yeah, no, Instagram, they're doing the most at the moment. There's been a load of moves, particularly this year. In 2021, they've really sort of tried to hammer this home. In March, further updates that came out that restricts how easily adults can contact teens that don't follow them. This was expanded to, and surprisingly this didn't come in first, but it was expanded to adults with potentially suspicious accounts being able to interact with a minor's profile at all. And they've also pulled back on the ability for marketers to target teens based on their interest data or activity on other apps. So Instagram, I think you have to give them a lot of credit here, because I think of all the mainstream social media platforms, they're really trying the hardest on this. And I don't know whether it's because of largely visual content, so they're afraid of users seeing material that they wouldn't want to at that age or anything like that. But you've got to really tip your hat to Instagram here, haven't you?
No, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe they're doing this to be in competition with the likes of TikTok, who have that major young person following?
Yeah. Well, I think we were just speaking a moment ago, weren't we, about that to use TikTok, you've got to be 13 plus and stuff like that. So I think it is a move, you're right, that you're seeing across social media networks. But this is the first time I think we've seen such a widespread attempt like this, not just to ban users from being over or under a certain age, but to make sure that once they are on the app, that they're then still protected. So I think whilst we're probably going to be seeing a little bit more of that as other platforms feel the pressure and the need to sort of follow suit, I don't think you can take away from what Instagram are doing. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a really good move. And so if you do get that prompt to input your birthday into Instagram, please do so. It's for the betterment of the platform and for society in general. And we're all in agreement here on the Social Jar podcast that we give it a thumbs up. So guys, taking our second dive into the social jar. I love it when we talk about new platforms. This is the first time we've spoken about this specific platform. You already know what it is. You've seen it in the title. We're talking about YouTube gaming, Twitch, the world of esports, the world of streaming. It's a really growing market. We're seeing it more and more pop up on social feeds and stuff like that as the industry is just on this incredible trajectory. But we've seen in recent weeks a few quite large streamers switch platforms away from Twitch, which is the mainstream subscription platform that most gaming streamers use and will revert to. But before we start off, guys, got a little bit of trivia for you. Bonus points for whoever gets this question. Can you please tell me who Richard Tyler Blevins is?
Dragon Master 3000?
Close. It's Ninja.
Yeah.
Who is probably the biggest name in the streaming world, in the gaming world. He left Twitch actually back in July 2020 to go to Microsoft's Mixer, which since closed down. So he has reverted now back to Twitch. But this set off a wider movement amongst large Twitch streamers who have moved from Twitch to try out alternative platforms. And this week, we've seen the move of Dr. Lupo, who's quite, another big name on the platform, move from Twitch to YouTube gaming. And he follows suit with a few of similar names who have made that switch and been pretty successful. They've had a lot of success off the back of it. So, but it's interesting because he has such a large following on Twitch. He does have a YouTube account where he has 1.7 million followers, but that's nowhere near the total that he has on Twitch. So with that in mind, it's incredibly interesting that we're seeing so many names start to make this transition, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing with Twitch is, and it's always been the reason why it's so popular, is because it's almost specifically built for that kind of video content for esports gaming. You know, you've got League of Legends, you've got FIFA, you've got Call of Duty on there, all these major games. You can go into a specific channel related to that game and watch a bunch of creators, watch your favorite creators. But what we have seen in more recent years, especially the last 2 to 3 years, is Twitch trying to branch out, because obviously when you say we're specifically built for one thing, that's going to cap you in terms of the audience that you can market to. And we've seen the likes of sports being streamed on there, like Impact Wrestling, for example, had an exclusive deal with Twitch for a long time, where they had their weekly television program live on Twitch. Some other sports leagues as well, live on Twitch. But as you say, YouTube have been trying to get into that market for some time now. Facebook as well are trying very hard with Facebook gaming. But YouTube, they have the resources, and it seems like a key market for them to want to try and get. So now that we have these gamers that are wanting to explore different opportunities, I think that's why it makes sense. Especially a lot of these gamers also upload highlights or upload lives onto YouTube as well to make that seamless transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's very interesting, especially when you look at, I've got some data here provided by Streamlabs that says that if you take the total hours watched in that streaming industry between Twitch, between Facebook gaming, and between YouTube gaming, 75% of all of those hours in the first quarter of this year were on Twitch. So it's got a huge dominant hold on that market. And so when you look at, as I said, Lupo, he's got that 1.7 million subs on YouTube. It seems like quite an interesting move, and one that you've seen Jack Dunlop make. Rachel Hofstetter is another one that's made that transition. It seems like they know something that we don't about the future of YouTube gaming. And that's also referenced in a statement that he made, because he said very ambiguously, but very interestingly, YouTube will help him expand his brand through other entertainment initiatives. And now that sounds very exciting. And YouTube is a platform that we're really starting to see level up as it faces some real competition for its video throne, which it's held for so long. I mean, we've spoken many times on this podcast about Shorts, which is another facet of the website, which they're really trying to push hard. And so if, again, we've got this more diverse, I suppose is the way to put it, different expansions and different ways to posture YouTube to provide it with different avenues to go forward to in the future, as it's never been so uncertain, has it, as the future of the video industry, whether it's live, whether it's the short form format that we're seeing on TikTok. YouTube are seemingly covering all of their bases.
Well, let me put this forward before. I know, Ryan, you've got a point as well to make. Think of Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Jake Paul and Logan Paul, yes, they are YouTubers, but they really made their name initially on Vine, which is obviously the social platform, the short 6-second platform which Twitter purchased and then shut down. But such a sad story. I loved Vine, by the way, and obviously that's why I enjoyed TikTok as well. Vine was great. But even though they were from Vine, nobody refers to them as former Vine stars. It's YouTubers, Jake and Logan Paul. And it's that name recognition and that name value of saying you're a YouTuber or somebody from YouTube, which I think has more power in other industries as opposed to saying I'm a Twitch streamer.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of the branding of YouTube that's helping maybe excel their own brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say so. Yeah, I think if you're Twitch though, you're pretty concerned, right? I think especially as sort of Ninja moved and then came back, and then that was sort of quite seismic at the time. He still holds the record for the most watched stream ever held on Twitch. He did that, I mean, it was back in 2019. He played Fortnite with Drake and Travis Scott and a load of other guys, and that blew up at the time, and that really put him on the map. But seeing him move to Microsoft Mixer, which was still very much unproven at the time and ended up shutting down. He came back and he signed a multi-million-pound deal to stay with Twitch. But they're still seeing a lot of their big names move to rival platforms. If you are Twitch, you're pretty concerned at this point, right?
Well, I think it's just down to money, isn't it? It's about those monetization opportunities that, we know YouTube have done a lot of modification and changes to their monetization policy, but we also know that if you are of value to YouTube, they're going to look after you. And I think with Twitch, if you're not Ninja, then your options are much slimmer in terms of what you can do on Twitch.
And chances are you're not Ninja. That's the problem because unfortunately...
What was his name? Michael Blevins. What
close.
Is it?
Richard Tyler Blevins. Richard Tyler Blevins. 30 years old. Yeah,
I would rather be called Ninja.
Yeah, 100%. You can understand why he's got the alias, can't you?
So you're saying it's not easy for me to record myself playing games and make it big on YouTube?
I would like to see that. Right, mate. You go after it. Yeah, you go after it. There's space here, with Dr. Lupo leaving and stuff like that. There's room in there.
And
mate.
It's Super Mario,
go
yeah.
And get it,
and,
you can just stream Animal Crossing
Zelda?
all day long.
If you could pick a game, if you could both pick a game to stream, what would it be? You go first, Dan.
It was funny. I saw a guy on TikTok remake Simpsons Hit and Run. He remade it from scratch himself, and I absolutely love that game. And I still don't feel like So I feel like I could make a solid killing streaming Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, on the note of Simpsons Hit and Run, I've never finished the last level. I just couldn't do it, even with the help of friends.
There were levels. I didn't know.
We were just driving around.
I was just driving around picking people up.
It's just Grand Theft Auto, isn't it? If I had to pick a game, you know what I loved when I was a kid as well? I don't think they're as good anymore. I haven't played them in a few years, but the SmackDown games,
yes,
they were awesome. They were awesome. Had some fun on that. Here Comes the Pain. You could throw someone off a helicopter. It was just amazing. I couldn't believe that was in a wrestling game.
What more do you want?
No, exactly.
Amazing. Yeah, I think, well, the market is definitely there, guys. We're seeing esports as an industry. It's incredible to see the heights that it's reached. And it feels like in terms of how you engage with that, whether it's on Twitch or on YouTube gaming or on Facebook gaming, which is another platform which we're going to start to hear a lot about, I'm sure. The doors are wide open in terms of it feels like Twitch have dominated that industry for so long, but perhaps now it's more of a level playing field. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, guys. If you engage with any streaming platforms, any of the ones that we've mentioned here today, let us know in the comments which is your favourite. Guys, after touching on Danny DeVito last time out, it feels like the third dive into the social jar here on the pod is now reserved for a quite jovial, entertaining topic. And this week, it really picked itself, didn't it? There was absolutely no debate that we had to talk about the milk crate challenge, which has been providing a lot of laughs, hasn't it, over the last few months? It's been out quite some time. But unfortunately, the party is over.
Okay.
It's done. TikTok has banned the challenge that saw people...
Some might say the milk has gone off in the milk crate challenge.
That's my job. That is my job.
Sorry,
So you I've got two questions about this. Well, one, where are people getting these milk crates? You see people, there must be 20, 30 milk crates stacked in the pyramid. Where do you have access to those?
Well, I can tell you, if you go to Sainsbury's.
No, but I did actually see in America, Walmart had cleared out an entire section and just made it exclusively a milk crate section, so they were just selling milk crates there.
Well, there you go.
So
That's
they were
where
back
people
in
are
the
getting
trend
them.
then.
Well, they just knew that idiots were buying milk crates, so they wanted to make a buck.
And they have in their droves. So, in case you don't know, the milk crate challenge saw people stack milk crates in a pyramid shape. So you go up the one side and come down the other, and you've got to try and do so without falling. And as you can imagine, more often than not, they fall. We actually saw a woman do it in high heels, didn't we? We were literally just watching it before we came on air. I saw a woman do it in a high heel. So if you're watching, well done, because we were incredibly impressed by that. But TikTok have put an end to it, and they've said, I've got the statement here, it prohibits content that promotes or glorifies dangerous acts, and they will remove videos and redirect searches to our community guidelines to discourage such content. And this is the best part. We encourage everyone to exercise caution in their behaviour, online or off.
Boo.
Indeed, mate. Indeed.
Yeah, because if you go and search milk crate challenge on TikTok, it just won't allow you to find the videos, and then it will come up with a very similar message like that. So they are putting a very stern stance on it. TikTok are.
We've seen a number of quite dangerous trends, and unfortunately, when you have a platform which is so based on like viral trends and challenges, you are going to get ones which are inherently dangerous. It's just unfortunately the nature of. Well, I say unfortunate if you do it and fall, but if you're for us, quite fortunate because it is quite funny.
Yeah.
We saw the Catch This challenge, which was where you put a phone on the floor and you stand 4 people around it, and then one person throws an unspecified object up in the air, and you've just got to see who it lands on. So that was a trend. But it started off with eggs, which was quite innocent. You just throw an egg up in the air, you all stand there. You're not allowed to look up, so you're sort of looking down at the phone, and then it splats on someone's head. It's quite funny. We then saw the Tide Pod challenge, which is one you just kind of remind me about, Andreas, which was significantly more dangerous than the Catch This challenge.
Well, I know in Catch This, if you're throwing a bowling ball, I think that's a bit more dangerous.
Well, people were throwing all sorts of crazy stuff up in the air. So that I got axed. Tide Pods are no more, and now the Milk Crate challenge, which we've thoroughly enjoyed.
Hold on, what is the Tide Pod? What's this one?
You just eat a Tide Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tide Pods are like American. They're like the little pods that you put in your washing machine.
Oh, right.
And people were eating them. I'm quite glad that this hasn't stained your innocent eyes, Ryan, because weird trend. But people were doing it nonetheless, and thankfully they're doing it no longer. Unfortunately, the Milk Crate looks set to follow a similar path. However, people get crafty with these things, don't they? So if you want your Milk Crate fix, you simply misspell it, which is something that you see people do on TikTok a lot, to get swear words in or something like that. And they'll like, use cleverly placed ones or something like that instead of eyes or something like that. So if you search like Milk Crate or Meal Crate,
Meal Crate,
you will get your fix. So that's good, I guess. But for the ones that want to be grammatically correct, if you spell Milk Crate correctly and you search it, and you won't get anything. But as I said, if you are quite clever about it, you will be able to not only make and post, but find Milk Crate challenge content on your TikTok feeds.
Yeah,
there we go. And it's not too late to get my post out there.
It's not, mate.
And that's what I mean. And because this segment's a bit short this week, we're really happy to announce that Ryan is going to be doing the Milk Crate challenge right now.
In high heels.
No, we do not advocate for such dangerous activities.
No.
Unless they are, of course, being filmed and used as promotional material, which in that case, go ahead. Put a disclaimer on. Obviously, I'm joking, but
you could write this. You've got a job writing the copy for these incredibly corporate releases. I think, mate. That was pretty good.
I know. I know. Well, here's the thing. Milk Crate Challenge. I've watched quite a few because it obviously is very funny to watch, and people are seriously hurting themselves. But at the same time, very funny. Like Fail Army on YouTube, love that channel. So funny. It's just funnier when someone else gets hurt and it's not you. But then when you're the one getting hurt, it's kind of like, wow, that really sucks. But Milk Crate Challenge, probably my favorite one is he's walking up and he walks up to the top like with no problems, and then he decides for some reason to do a drop kick off the top, and obviously ends up collapsing the mountain of milk crates. But yeah. I don't know. I think the majority of the videos aren't from the United Kingdom anyway. They're from America. I've seen quite a lot from Africa as well. So don't really think the Milk Crate challenge made that much of a dent over here. No. Thankfully. Yeah. Otherwise, we would have definitely had to do it.
Yeah. So it's there have been unfortunately a few injuries that have become pretty high profile. I saw Stephen A. Smith was actually talking about on the Jimmy Kimmel show. So it's gone quite a high profile, and I feel like that must have been the final straw for TikTok to say, nah, guys, this is the end of this, which is a bit of a shame. But TikTok, it's not what it was intended for, really. So I can see why they're posturing back to it's more innocent content. But it was a movie. We had a good time, and I think we can all solemnly say that you will be missed. Milk Crate Challenge.
Yeah. On to the next stupid.
And
well, people will find it. I mean, for us, and I presume the producers of You've Been Framed, this is quite a sad week, I suppose. But. Yeah, I mean, as you say, right, I'm sure people will find a new, ingenious and quite challenging way to hurt themselves in the coming weeks and months. So we as a collective look forward to seeing what that is.
Yeah. Why don't we just come up with one?
Yeah, guys, there we go. There is a good question to put to the audience, I feel. If you've got to see
what shall we do?
An interesting way for us to make a fool of ourselves, let us know. So, guys, that's a wrap. Episode 7 is in the books. All good? Enjoyed it? we seem to be getting into the swing of things now. We do definitely need to get a set sorted a little bit more than what we've got. New plan, no frame this time.
Yeah,
We like to keep you guys on your toes here on the Social Jar podcast. Who knows what
you
to
never
expect
know
the next
what
week?
to expect.
You don't.
You
But
don't. There will be a set. Look, I'm gonna say this right now, just to hold myself accountable. So Beth, clip this up. By episode 10, we will have a set, and that is a promise.
I look forward to it.
To myself. And if I don't, then obviously make this into a meme and make me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But episode 10, we definitely will have the set. Because the funny thing is, I have the concept and I know how we're going to do the set. Just not got around to doing it yet. But it's not about the set. It's about the friends that we made along the way with this wonderful podcast, which we're very grateful for your support and to continuously listen. I love it when you all message me. I don't mean that as like I'm just trying to show off. Like I get at least 1 or 2 messages per week saying really enjoyed the show, and it means a lot. And I know it means a lot to the guys as well. So please, if you are listening, give us a tweet or send us a message. We really do appreciate the support.
For sure. And speaking of support, I want to give you the hosting duty for a second, because last week it was not only the Social Jar Extra, but Project Manchester, which is a very exciting in-house project that we've launched, also went live. And I think it's about time we gave that a little bit of airtime here on the Social Jar podcast.
To the man himself, if you've watched the promo videos, obviously, you can see me doing some random and silly things. It was a really good video to produce with Infinity Studios, and obviously an initiative that we believe a lot in terms of giving back to the city of Manchester and to help the businesses that have struggled through a very difficult 18 months in the pandemic. So please visit either the Uniform brand social media or the Infinity Studios social media channels, and you can see how you, as a small business in this area, can apply to get a free promotional package about your brand, and also to see me doing silly things, but also very cool things in as it was described to me, a bank-like promotional video, which
wow,
yeah,
that's
cool.
pretty niche.
Very niche.
Pretty niche. No milk crate challenges in the video.
No. We're a niche company though, aren't we?
Yeah, to say the least. To say the least. But guys, yeah, a really exciting time here at Uniform HQ. As always, we thank you very much for watching the Social Jar, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.